Happy Radani to everybody. And I know it's a work day, so we expect people to come a little later, but I'll be speaking from 5 o'clock, which is the time right now, till 6 o'clock. And so we're going to start by chanting what's called Shri Radhika Stava. Let me just turn this thing around. This thing is backwards. And you're welcome to follow along on the songbook or respond or just listen. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Gokula Taruni Mandala Makiche Gokula Taruni Mandala Makiche Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Damodara Vardhana Vese Hadith Niskuta Vrindavi Pineshe Damodara Rati Vardhana Vese Hatinas Kuta Vrindavi Pineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Vrishabhanu Dade Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Vrishabhanu Dadi Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya. Karunam Karumai Karuna Bharate Sanaka Sanatana Vanita Charite. Karunam Karumai Karuna Bharate Sanaka Sanatan Manita Charite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya. Gokula Taruni Mandala Magite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Magite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Golokinana Radha, Golokinana Radhe. Jaya Radha, Golokinana Radha, Golokinana Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad. Paramahansa Parvatacharya, also Teta, Satashi, Shima, Divine Grace Sabaya, Sanan Yagya, Iskam Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, Ananta Koti, Vaishnava, Vrinda Namacharya, Srila Thakur, Ramse Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidway Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shayama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuram Ki Jai Goswami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Janamani. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharne Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatyatejatarne. So happy Radhastami to everybody. I'm going to read the translation to this poem by Srila Rupa Goswami. O Radha, all glories unto you, beloved of Madhava, object of worship for all the young girls of Gokula. You dress yourself in such a way as to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you. You are the controller of Vrindavana, the pleasure groves of Lord Hari. You are a new moon arisen from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu, and you are the friend of Lalita, and your wonderful qualities, friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna, endear you to Vishaka. You are an ocean of compassion, and your divine characteristics are described by the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara Radha. Please be merciful to me. So, Om Gana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakya Chakshur Miditam Yena Tasmai Shigarve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we'll attempt to talk about this most exalted subject matter, which is Srimati Radharani, who is the Adi Shakti of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord, that is Krishna, if you haven't figured that out, the Lord has various Shaktis or energies. Vishnu Shakti Para Prakta Chetragya Kirtada Para Avidyakarma Sanganya Tritira Shakti Ishate. So, three basic categories. One is the spiritual energy of the Lord, who Radharani is the Adi Shakti of the original Shakti of the spiritual energy of the Lord. Then there's the material energy of the Lord, Avidya Karma, which is where we're at right now. Avidya Karma means ignorant activities. Sanganya Tatir, and then Kshetragyakya refers to us. That's the third energy, refers to us, the marginal energy of the Lord, or the Jiva soul. And Kshetragya means the knower of the body. And that's all we know right now is this material body and the three modes of nature. But actually we're meant to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the only way we can know the Supreme Personality of God is Bhakti-mam. Avajananti, avinyasyasmi tatvataha. Tathomam vishade. So, as Krishna says, only by devotion can I be known. Vishade tad anantaram. And in this way, someone can enter into my understanding. So, the reason that we are suffering in this world, which we're going to talk about in a second, is because we are taking shelter of the external energy instead of the internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we're going to talk about taking shelter of the internal energy, taking shelter of Srimati Radharani. So, there's the prayer to Srimati Radharani, which was taught to us by the Acharyas. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye, which means I offer my respects to Srimati Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very, very dear to Lord Krishna. So as I mentioned before, we are taking shelter of this material energy, as you see here in the picture. And when we take shelter of the material energy, it doesn't really give us full shelter. It's temporary shelter. So we are meant to take shelter of the internal energy, and this is a quote from Prabhupada. Our business is that we have to take shelter. Instead of taking shelter of the external energy, that is also Krishna, Prabhupada said. There's no doubt. Krishna's energy are non-different. Let's unpack that for a second. So when we say that Krishna and Krishna's energy, including the internal potency and the external potency, are non-different from Krishna, we are referring basically, to unpack it, to what's called the Achincha Beta Beta Tattva philosophy. It's not that Krishna's energy is 100% the same as Krishna, but it is the same as Krishna in one sense because it emanates from Krishna. So, for example, the sun and the sunshine. We can say the sun and the sunshine are one, but they're also different. For example, right now, we can see the sunshine is in this room on that painting over there. And sometimes we may even say, the sun is on the painting. Now, if the sun was on that painting, there wouldn't be a painting. There wouldn't be a room. There wouldn't be us. There wouldn't be the Earth planet. But the sunshine and the sun are one and different simultaneously. The same thing with Krishna's energy. Continuing with Prabhupada's quote, taking shelter of the material energy is not very beneficial for us. We have to take shelter of the internal energy. So we have a choice. And as you see, the personification of the external energy is who? Durga. Now, the name Durga, for those who worship Durga, means to move with what? Difficulty. Durga, or basically, as Prabhupada sometimes explains, it means the warden of the prison house. And Durga is seated on a tigress, and she has a trident. And the three tips of those tridents are, or signify what? What? What are they? No, the Adhyatmic, Adhibodhic, and Adhidaivik. Miseries. Miseries from your body and your mind. Adhyatmic. Miseries from other living entities. And miseries from the material energy in general. So why do we want to take shelter of someone who's going to keep piercing us with these threefold miseries? Now, on the other hand, if we take shelter of the internal potency, was personified by Srimati Radharani, then Durga becomes an assistant to our spiritual progress. She lets us go. She assists us in devotional service. So we have a choice. So as we mentioned before, Krishna and his energy are considered one and different simultaneously. So it's explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, one and different, just to explain it further. But for the sake of the pleasure pastimes, they divide or separate themselves eternally. Now, when we talk about for the sake of their pleasure pastimes, they separate themselves eternally, there was never a time when that occurred. You know, when we're saying, it's not that at a particular time Krishna said, okay, I got to separate myself. I got to manifest this energy, because Krishna and his energies are eternal. Eternal means there's no beginning and there's no end. Like the eternality of the soul, Najayate Mrite Bha Kadacham. So we never came into existence, nor will we ever cease to be. So sometimes it's explained that Srimati Radharani is a transformation of Krishna's love. It's interesting, isn't it? A transformation of Krishna's love. Try to understand that. Another quote here is that she uses an internal energy called Ladini. Now, the internal energy has three aspects: Ladini, Samvit, and Sandini. That means the pleasure potency, Ladini, Samvit, the cognitive or knowing potency, and Sandini, the existential potency. Or sometimes that can be explained in a more familiar way as Sat, Chit, and what else? Ananda, you got it. Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat, eternity, Chit, knowledge, and Ananda, or bliss. So, there's an interesting verse from the Bhagavad Gita that describes the necessity or the need to take shelter of the internal potency. And of course, this is a famous verse, 9:13 in the Gita. Mahatmanas tumam partha daivam prakritim ashrita. Vajanjananya manaso yatva bhutadam avyam. And the direct translation is, O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So that Daivam Prakritim, or transcendental or spiritual energy, is Srimati Radharani. So we have to learn how to take shelter of Srimati Radharani. And what are the benefits? You know, we're going to ask about or talk about the benefits of taking shelter of Radharani, and how can we actually do it? I mean, these are important questions. What do I get, as they say, with him? What's in it for me? Of course, I'll give you a little coming attraction. What's in it for you is eternity, bliss, and knowledge. And if you don't do it, temporary misery, ignorance. So you got a choice. So what do you choose? So of course, it's actually quite easy to take shelter of the internal energy. And we're going to talk about how to do that. But first, here's Prabhupada taking shelter of Srimati Radharani. So what happens when we take shelter of Srimati Radharani? So in this material world, as Prabhupada explains, we sometimes, or oftentimes, fall down. Not sometimes, oftentimes. Fall down and deviate. So we require protection. So therefore, when we chant the holy name of the Lord, we chant Hare Krishna, because we're asking for the protection of Srimati Radharani, the protection of the internal potency, so that we don't fall down or deviate. That's why in Vrindavan, the devotees are chanting Radhe, Radhe, because they're asking for Radharani's protection, or Jai Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. And of course we chant Hare Krishna. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is basically Radha Krishna. Some devotees in Vrindavan actually chant the Hare Krishna mantra in a little different way. They go, Radha Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radha, Radhe, Radhe. But the authorized method, according to the Upanishads, is to chant Hare Krishna. Because Hare is the vocative form. Vocative means crying out. So you're crying out for the internal energy of the Lord. Crying out means, oh, internal energy of the Lord, oh, Shrimati Radharani, engage me in Krishna's service, protect me from this material energy. So it is a plea to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so when one chants the holy name, one should be chanting in that particular mood, begging, volume, intense hankering, rather than ritualistically, because we should understand what the meaning is. And then we get intelligence to make spiritual advancement. Here's a quote from Prabhupada. If we take shelter of the Daivi Maya Radharani, then she will give us intelligence in such a way that we can take shelter of Krishna perfectly. So this intelligence protects us. This is from a lecture on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So as we mentioned before, the devotees in Vrindavan are continually taking shelter of Srimati Radharani in order to get protection in this material world. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states in his Gitavali poem, he who has grasped the hold of the lotus feet of Radharani with great care obtains the lotus feet of Krishna, which are like priceless jewels. And of course, Radharani is the compassionate counterpart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we often mention on Gaur Purnima, when we're talking about the comparative compassion of Lord Chaitanya versus Krishna's compassion, we oftentimes cite 1866 in the Gita. Anyone know 1866? No one knows it. How's it go? What? Sarvadharma Prichajam Hamikam Saram Raja. That this is Krishna's compassion. Okay, I told you what to do, Arjuna, then surrender. Your choice. So, but Radharani is, according to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was manifesting the mood of Radharani, Dinahini Yatachilo Haritam Udurilo, that one takes to chanting Radha's name in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, whether one is fallen, whether one is elevated, one can come to the point of Krishna consciousness. So we take hold of Srimati Radharani's feet by chanting the Maha Mantra. And here's a picture of Srimati Radharani's feet, which sometimes the devotees ask, why don't we reveal Srimati Radharani's feet on Radhastami? Originally we used to do that, but then after doing some more research in Prabhupada's letters, I decided that we're not going to do that on Radhastami because it's a very, very intimate. Radharani belongs to Krishna. So to approach her in a very intimate way, we may not have the adhikar at this particular point. So Radharani is giving her blessings. Another quote from Srila Prabhupada, to advance quickly. In Vrindavan, they always speak of Radharani because they've taken shelter. Radharani, to approach Krishna very easily, Daivam Prakriti Mashrita. The facility of Vrindavan is that you take shelter of Radharani directly and she will help you to approach Krishna very soon. This is the idea of coming to Vrindavan. So of course here in New Goloka, we're in Vrindavan. Prabhupada would comment that all of his temples are Vaikuntha or Vrindavan. They're embassies of the spiritual world. This is a lecture Prabhupada gave it from the Nectar of Devotion. So, how do we take Radharani? Here's more helpful hints. We need to serve the mission of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And they reveal to us how to take shelter at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and to accept that shelter. And of course, we accept the directions of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who elaborates and gives us our specific mission within the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because we can achieve Krishna consciousness only by the Lord's compassion. And when Krishna takes on that compassionate nature of Radha, he appears as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then the devotees engage in this Sankirtan Yagya, as you see here. Chanting Hare Krishna and preaching Krishna consciousness. Kaler Doshanade Rajanashyoka Mahadguna Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramvajet. So even though this Kali Yuga is an ocean of difficulty, there is one overriding good principle in Kali Yuga, which is simply by chanting Hare Krishna and bringing other people to Krishna consciousness under the direction in the ISKCON movement of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This is the yoga for this age. My dear Lord, so we engage in this Sankirtan. We pray with the mood, my dear Lord, and spiritual energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service. I am now embarrassed with this material service. Please engage me in your service. And we accept Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission under the direction of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, which we mentioned before, who explains and teaches us the mission of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan and their followers. And Srila Prabhupada has written many books, such as The Nectar of Devotion, which explains this, and this morning we were hearing from the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which is a summary study of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which elaborates on Lord Chaitanya's mission and Srimati Radharani's shelter. Especially, we are followers of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, who reveal the glories of Radha and Krishna and how to take their shelter. Narottam Das Thakur comments in this regard, and he gives us direction on how we can reach the highest perfectional stage of associating with Radha and Krishna. He says, by surrendering to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu will be pleased, and by his being pleased, we shall be freed from material desires. So there's a whole methodology. First, we approach the spiritual master, who is Lord Nityananda's representative, who is the representative of Balaram Hoylandchai. And by approaching the spiritual master, we can directly approach Lord Nityananda, Balaram, and become free from the anarthas. And then when we become free from the anarthas, we become capable of approaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly. And when we become capable of approaching Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly, then we can actually understand the teachings of the 6 Goswamis and understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna. And when these material desires are no more, this is a quote from Narottam Das Thakur, we shall be able to enter Vrindavan. And after entering Vrindavan, when we are eager to serve the 6 Goswamis, then we can reach the platform to understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. This is from Gauranga Balite Habi Pulaka Sharir. So, when will that day be mine? Gauranga Balite Habi Pulaka Sharir Hari Hari Nani Babi Nir. And then we'll come to the point of Satatam Kirtiyanto Mam Yatantas Cha Jadavrata Namashantas Jamam Bhakja Nitya Yukta Pasate. That's from Gita 9:14. When we take shelter of Srimati Radharani, we are always chanting Krishna's glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before Krishna, and perpetually worshiping Krishna with devotion. And also, when we take shelter of Srimati Radharani, we worship her deity form, and by seeing her, decorating her, and cooking for her, and chanting for her, we actually make spiritual progress. Here's a quote from Prabhupada. Today is the auspicious day of Radharani's appearance, so we should offer Pushpanjali and pray to Radharani that Radharani kindly be merciful and tell me about your Krishna. To your Krishna. Krishna is yours. Krishna. Radha Krishna. Krishna is not independent. Krishna is Radharani's property. So you have to approach Krishna through Radharani. Direct quote from His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. This is from a lecture given on Radhastami in London, September 5th, 1973. Another quote by Prabhupada. We should worship Radharani first. That is our business. Instead of offering directly one flower to Krishna, you just put it in the hands of Radharani. Wow. My mother Radharani, Jagannamata, if you kindly take this flower and offer it to Krishna. Oh, Radharani says, oh, you have brought flower. This is a lecture also in Radhastami from London, same day. So the point is that Radharani offers to Krishna. Of course, the way we offer things is first we offer to the spiritual master, who offers it through the disciplic succession up to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and then it's offered to Radharani, and Radharani offers to Krishna in this way. So there's some description of the qualities of Radharani. This is very intimate. We can hear of Radharani's qualities. In the morning, her body is bathed in the nectar of compassion. It's very poetic statements. In the afternoon, in the nectar of youth, and in the evening, in the nectar of luster itself. Her ornaments embody the natural symptoms of ecstasy: trembling, tears, jubilation, stunning, perspiration. This is all symptoms of Mahabhav. Radharani is known as Mahabhav Swarup. She is the form of the greatest ecstasy. Faltering of the voice, bodily redness, madness and dullness. In this way, her entire body is bedecked with these 9 different jewels. Radharani said, Krishna has nicely composed songs and plays on his flute, wearing such nice garlands. He has dressed himself in such an enchanting way. He lives wonderfully at the topmost height of artistic craftsmanship. When Radharani was singing about Krishna's glories, she enchanted all of her friends in such a way that they became stone-like and dull. At the same time, the nearby stones began to melt away in ecstatic love. So here's Srimati Radharani singing about Krishna's glories. Srimati Radharani said, my dear friend, if I cannot hear of the glorious activities of Krishna, it is better for me to become deaf. And because I am now unable to see him, it would be good for me to be a blind woman. And of course, as the story goes that we heard this morning, when Radharani appeared in this world, in Raval, she was blind and deaf. And the reason for that is that when Krishna asked her to come to this material world, she said, I will have to see these rascals and hear these rascals in the material world. And Krishna assured her, the first thing you will see is me. And the first thing you will hear is me. So when she appeared, as I mentioned, she was deaf and blind. And so her parents, Kirtada and Vrishabhanu, were very, very worried. What's going to happen? So they were assured by Narada Muni that she was very auspicious, a very auspicious birth. And he told them to have the name-giving ceremony. So with that name-giving ceremony, they invited Krishna along with his parents, Nanda and Yashoda. And Krishna came, and there's several descriptions of this particular pastime, that Krishna either crawled up or they were both on the lap of Yashoda. And Radharani smelled Krishna and sensed the presence of Krishna, and her eyes opened for the first time. And her began to hear for the first time. So she didn't have to see anyone else first. In the autumn moon night, Krishna called the gopis to dance with him by playing his flute. Tatai, tatai, tata, 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 te. The gopis stamped their feet and raised their arms, swaying from left to right as they moved around the circle. Strung on the thread of Krishna's beauty within their hearts, they moved their feet to D, D, DT, DD. I'm not expert with that stuff. So during the rasa dance, one form of Krishna was between every two gopis, but by the side of Srimati Radharani, there was only one Krishna. Although this was the case, Srimati Radharani still manifested disagreement with Krishna. So she was manifesting her man. So you'll find these various pastimes taking place between Radha and Krishna. And so there was this mock battle you see here. So these are different pictures of the rasa dance. When Radharani was first introduced to Krishna, she felt very bashful. One of her friends addressed her in this way, "My dear friend, you've already sold yourself and all your beauty to Govinda. Now you should not be bashful. Please look upon him cheerfully. One who has sold an elephant to another person should not make a miserly quarrel about selling the trident which controls the elephant." That's from the Nectar of Devotion. So all the residents of Vrindavan are serving Radha and Krishna's loving exchanges. And even Madhu Mangal, he has this extremely humorous exchange with the cowherd boys and with Krishna. He said, "If you give me one more laddu, then I shall be pleased to give you my blessings so that your friend Radharani will be very much pleased with you." So he was very attached to laddus. So we understand that all the different devotees in different rasas in Vrindavan are serving the conjugal relationship of Radha and Krishna. Some more descriptions about Srimati Radharani. Her eyes defeat the attractive features of the eyes of the chakora bird. When one sees the face of Radharani, he immediately hates the beauty of the moon. Her bodily complexion defeats the beauty of gold. Thus, let us all look upon the transcendental beauty of Radharani. Krishna tells his friend, "My dear friend, what a wonderful thing it is that since I have seen the beautiful lotus eyes of Srimati Radharani, I have developed a tendency to spit on the moon and the lotus flower." So just to summarize, by taking shelter of the divine energy of Radharani, one achieves, one, protection from fall down or deviation, intelligence on how to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You achieve Krishna's lotus feet, spiritual perfection, and quick spiritual advancement. And the way we do that is we serve Radharani's devotees. As it is said, as Krishna states in the Adi Purana, one who says he is my devotee is not my devotee, but one who says he is a devotee of my devotee is my devotee. So we can apply that in a parallel way to Srimati Radharani, that one who says he or she is a devotee of Srimati Radharani must serve a devotee of Srimati Radharani, a pure devotee. And we're very fortunate in the Krishna conscious movement. We can serve as divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. So therefore, we should learn about the love between Radha and Krishna and the nature of Radharani from Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the 6 Goswamis, and then be absorbed in chanting Krishna's name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, serve Shri Radhagolokananda, the deity form, pray to her, and meditate on her qualities. This way, we will always be absorbed in Krishna's internal energy. Again, the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas tu mam partha dhavam prakriti mahashrita bhajan jananya manasho Getwa Putadam Avyam. Then everyone chant, chant, chant what? Radha Krishna. And so I had some stories, but there's not much more time. But to end this presentation, we're going to chant this song together, Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re So Bhai. So it's there in the songbook. Let me just turn this off. And maybe before that, I'll just tell one interesting story about Srimati Radharani. Well, I have only till 6. So, all right. So we talked before about Radharani's man, or getting angry at Krishna. Now, there's 2 types of gopis. There's the left-handed gopis and the right-handed gopis. Left-handed gopis, like Srimati Radharani, they sometimes exhibit extreme anger, jealousy. And this anger is exhibited, let me turn it off, to please Krishna. It's not like the anger in this world. As we hear from the Bhagavad Gita, one gets angry in this world, Jayato Vishaks Pumsam Sangostesha Vijayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krota Vijayate. Because you're frustrated, you want something. Things don't happen the way you want. You're contemplating sense objects, you're getting attached to them. You're becoming lusty, you're becoming angry. But the anger of Srimati Radharani is to give Krishna pleasure. So Krishna likes to see her angry. And he does certain things to see her angry. And sometimes Krishna's devotees do things to make Radharani angry. And so this is a story of Narada Muni doing something to make Radharani angry. Once upon a time, Narada Muni started to serve Radharani a lot. He was visiting regularly. And Krishna, he wanted to warn Radharani about Narada Muni's tricks. He said, be very careful. And Radharani didn't take it very seriously. She said, you know what does he mean? You know, Narada Muni's a great devotee. He's not going to do anything wrong. So later on, Narada Muni started to play his veena to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And Krishna is very, very pleased. Oh, you play so nicely. You chant Radhika Raman, Namane. You chant very nicely. So please ask for a benediction. And Narada Muni said, later on, I will ask for the benediction. Don't worry. Krishna was worried. You got to be careful when you offer someone a benediction. Ask for whatever you want. Don't do that. So anyway, so Krishna did that. Then sometime later, they were arranging a swing festival for Radha and Krishna. And as they were arranging a swing festival for Radha and Krishna, Narada Muni comes. And Narada Muni says to Krishna, now's the time that I want my benediction fulfilled. And Krishna said, okay, what do you want? And then Narada Muni said, I want to see you swinging on the swing with Lalita Devi. Okay. Krishna said, uh-oh, this is trouble. So he goes on the swing with Lalita Devi, and immediately we find Narada Muni goes to Radharani and says, guess what this Krishna is doing? Even though Lalita Devi didn't want to get on the swing, but she was sort of forced. And so Radharani comes and she sees what's happening. And she gets so angry that she disappears. She just runs away. And then Narada disappears, and Krishna keeps looking for Radharani. He's crying. Eventually, they get together. And Krishna explains to Srimati Radharani, don't trust Narada in the future. And then they swing swing together. This is a beautiful story. Another story, actually one more story, and then we'll chant Radha Krishna Bol Bol. This is one of my favorite stories. That once upon a time in Yavat, where Radharani and her so-called husband lived, Radharani's mother-in-law and sister-in-law would not allow her out of the house. And so she was basically locked up. And Krishna was with Subal at the same time, and he was lamenting. Krishna was saying, I will die if I cannot be with Srimati Radharani. So you have to do something. You have to go and get her. So Subal was thinking, what am I going to do? So he goes to Yavat, and he goes outside of the house of Jatila and Kutila and Srimati Radharani and the so-called Abhimanyu. He's outside of the house, and he appears to be looking for something. Jatila, Radharani's so-called mother-in-law, says, what are you doing, Subal? Now, remember, Subal looks very much like Radharani in a male body. He's not her brother. He's the son of Chandrabhanu, not Vrishabhanu. Sridham is the brother of Srimati Radharani. But somehow or other, Subal looks like a male version of Srimati Radharani. So he's looking. Jatila comes out of the house and says, what are you looking for? And he explains, I'm looking for a calf. My calf ran away. And she said, if you want, you can look here. I'll give you some water. So he goes in the house, and he sneaks in. He goes to Radharani's room, and he explains exactly the state of Krishna, that Krishna is getting ready to pass away unless he can meet with Radharani. He's experiencing extreme separation. You know, sometimes we hear about, oh, Govinda, feeling your separation. I'm considering a moment to be 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I'm feeling all vacant of the world in your absence. So Krishna also feels like that with Srimati Radharani. She controls him, and he can't live without her. Imagine that. So this is a reciprocal love. So Subal explains this to Srimati Radharani, and then they develop a whole plan. And that plan is that they switch clothes. And Subal puts on Radharani's clothes, and with, appropriate parts of the body. So he looks like Srimati Radharani, and Radharani puts on Subal's clothes. And she puts a turban on her head, so she can't see her hair. And she carries a calf in front of her. So she covers her breasts like this. So she walks out of the house, and she goes to see Krishna. But when she goes to see Krishna, she doesn't tell Krishna that she's Radharani. She acts like she's Subal. And she says, I couldn't get Radharani out of the house. And Krishna gets ready to die. And then Krishna takes off his turban. Radharani takes off her turban, and she reveals that it's her, and they have these intimate pastimes. Later on, they re-switch the clothes, and it all ended happily. So there's many, many pastimes told by the acharyas in this regard. So I'd like to chant this song, Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobai, which is written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's a very beautiful song about chanting Radha and Krishna, or Hare Krishna. If you want to put it on the screen. What happened to the cartels? They were here a second ago. They sort of disappeared. They were there. It's a little bit difficult melody to follow, so see if you can follow along. You ready? No? going to take a long time, or? Okay. Anyway, we'll start. Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Hey, Sikadea Sabdadia Vicheneche Kornatai Sikadea Sabdadea Vicheneche Kornatai Hey, Sikadea Sabdadia Vicheneche Kornatai Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Mitche Maravache Yatobeshe Katu Hapu Tubu Bai Maravache Yatobeshe Katu Hapu Tubu Bai Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Bir Krishna Das Hey Vishwas Kole Toar Tukonai Bir Krishna Das Hey Vishwas Kole Toar Tukonai Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Krishna Bol Me Jabe Pula Kabe Jorbe Yanki Boli Tai Krishna Bol Me Jabe Pula Kabe Jorbe Yanki Boli Tai Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Radha Krishna Bolo Sange Chalo E Matra Bika Chai Radha Krishna Bolo Sange Chalo E Matra Biko Chai Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhage Jai Sakal Vipod Bhakti Vinod Bolin Nako Nonam Gai Jai Sakal Vipod Bhakti Vinod Bole Jakononum Gai Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bola Re Soba Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bola Re Soba Hey, Sikadea Sabnadea Pirche Neche Gurnachai Hey, Sikadea Sabnadea Pirche Neche Gurnachai Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bola Re Soba Radha Krishna Bol 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 Re Soba Haribo 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Ragate. Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Radhe, 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 hey Radhe, 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 Radhe. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya, also Teta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chanananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Maturadam Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Manamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasidevi Ki Jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Go Premananda, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Radhe, 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 Radhe. So now we'll continue with the program. Do you have an announcement to make? Okay.
Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for joining us for this most auspicious occasion of the appearance of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani ki! Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki! Shri Radha Sham Sundar ki! Giriraj Govardhan ki! Pancha Tattva ki! ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki! His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki! Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for coming. A very, very special day. And first of all, we would like to start off by expressing our gratitude to His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj for such a wonderful lecture, starting with philosophy, talking of the energies and how